All right, folks, welcome back to the AI Success Cast. I'm Andy O'Brien. Great to have you with us today. And I'm really excited to have Sharyn Sheldon here with us this time. Sharyn is the founder of ContentSparks.com, the leading provider of professional white label courses for business coaches, consultants, trainers, entrepreneurs. Her content is the time-saving secret that her customers use to attract new business and add new streams of income and be the go-to resource for their clients. Sharyn's been designing and creating training programs for over 30 years, both for Fortune 500 companies and small businesses. And now she and her team are applying those same high standards to create ready to go courses and coaching programs that you can quickly edit, rebrand, deliver under your own name without having to create any content from scratch. Sharyn has been one of the biggest boosters of the AI Success Club in the past year, almost year and a half. And I truly appreciate everything she's done for Denise and I for the club. And so it's such a great day for me to have Sharyn with us for the AI Success Cast. Sharyn, welcome. I'm really excited that you're here.
Thanks, Andy. Thanks for inviting me. I mean, I'm really appreciative of you and Denise because you're doing a lot of the work and the research that saves me time, that saves us time on keeping up with the latest trends, because it's so hard to keep up with everything that's going on, all
That's
that
for sure.
overwhelm of constant tools. Yeah, it sometimes I feel like I've wasted time rather than saved time in a lot of instances. It's taken a while to get that under control and not get distracted. I
So
think
easy
people
to
are so
do.
distracted. Yeah.
With all the different advancements, it's like with AI just coming out with new stuff every day. And it is really
Yeah.
hard to keep pace with all that. It's like as soon as you feel like you've got something mastered, the next new thing comes out and that's been antiquated. Well, you just mastered
Yep.
or something. Doesn't it feel like that? I don't know.
Yeah, no, I've needed to learn how to put the blinders on and say, okay, I'm only going to focus on the things that I know will, or I think will really save me time and improve the quality and processes in our business versus getting distracted by things that are not in my realm of expertise, my zone.
Yeah, yeah.
And because one of the things I've really discovered with it is it's not great if you don't already have some foundation of knowledge in an area. Like you're an expert in copywriting, right?
Hmm.
So if you don't know copywriting and know the fundamentals of it, it's hard to get good quality out of any kind of AI tool because
Yeah, you don't
otherwise you
know
get
what you
something
don't know,
generic.
right?
Exactly. You don't know that it's giving you a good answer or not a good answer,
Hmm. So
right?
true.
If
So what first started you in the AI realm? Like, I mean, it came out in November of 2022, and
Mhm.
but it really didn't get into people's radar until the first of that year of 2023. So, do you remember kind of what you first got you into it, or I mean, or were you just kind of blown away as I was because it was such a amazing development?
Well, at first I was a little bit of a denier because I saw it and I said, oh, come on, can't be very good. And AI is not actually anything new. It's been around
Mm-hmm.
for a while, but not to this degree. So I heard about it, and my customers want me to always be a little on the cutting edge. So I heard about all these things and said, okay, I'll test it out a little bit and see whether there's any potential there. And I was blown away at first and then realized that I had to learn. There was so much to learn about how to use it. And I was one of the first members of the AI Success Club
Yes, you
for
were.
that very reason, because I realized there's no way I can stay on top of this and I need some guidance and it changes every day. So I need to get into something like your club with somebody I trust who has ethics
Yeah.
and is responsible about what you're teaching and learn that and experiment. But initially it was a lot of time to just try and get up to speed and find ways to use it. So the first impression was, wow, this is incredible. And then it was, okay, this is really junk. And then it was, okay, now I just have to learn how to use it to get to really save myself time and get good quality out of it. And I realized I needed to be ahead of the game to build this into our processes and our business and see where it could improve the quality and save time as well. Get my people up to speed. And it's been a constant, it's been a continuous improvement process of figuring out where to use it, where not to use it,
What was
where it
that
makes
like, getting your
sense.
people up to speed and kind of redoing what you do? I mean, you kind of had to shift a little bit, right?
Well, I had to experiment, and in the end, it didn't really change our processes that much. I got a whole team, or my team, together on one call, and we walked through different examples that I'd come up with, and I really had to get them to work with it and practice and see what made sense, but give very clear guidelines on what it's okay to use for and what it isn't okay to use for. And they're still learning as well. I always have to point out something new when I learn it, and they also reciprocate. I don't have a huge team, it's small, so that helps a lot. But I put together a Google Doc with some prompts that they could use for starting and giving really clear guidance. But I have a
Mhm.
great team and they use their judgment. So I feel safe enough with them working on things when I set some clear guidelines on what can be done, what can't be done. And we've learned over the past year of what it's helpful for and where it just isn't helpful. Like writing actual content, for us, at least, it's not that helpful
Mhm.
because it just sounds like everyone else. And the more you look at output, the more you see what's AI and what isn't.
You can tell.
And
You can spot it a
yeah,
mile away now.
yeah, absolutely. I can spot it. And what's interesting is you can spot things that sound like AI, but they aren't necessarily AI. I've put in stuff from 10 years ago and it says it's AI or 50% AI. I'm like, well, that's not possible.
Right, right.
But it's
Oh man.
because we have to write in a relatively generic way so that people can customize it. So with our stuff that's customizable, if we put too much personality in, then it can't be used by a lot of our customers. So it has to be relatively generic. And that's where it's
Walking,
been really tricky.
yeah, you're walking a tightrope there, right? I mean,
Yeah.
wow.
Well, our expertise is on the learning side, on the what's a good learning process, what's a good learning activity, putting together in a logical flow, and using judgment to see what works, what doesn't. Now, AI can't really tell that. It doesn't know what's the right amount to put into a course, what's, how long something will actually take. I've tried having it outline an activity that says will take an hour, and I look at it and say, no way,
Right,
that's going to take half a day to
right.
do. And it's too much. It'll throw in everything with the kitchen sink to put into a course. I'm like, no, 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 that's
Hmm.
that's not good. And then you say refine it, and it cuts out random things. So you have to really guide it through, and that's where our expertise comes in. But where it's great is in adding that uniqueness and customization. So for our customers, it's saying, okay, here's a great case study or example. Now use the same one in the same format and put it for this audience, their own audience. And then it's great because it has a structure already and it comes up with something interesting that you can use. So it's been great for that. And it's great for our customers to use with something you already have.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, in the meantime, all these other people are coming out with AI courses, and wow, what a kind of a train wreck, right? I mean, at least
Oh,
that's what I'm coming across.
it's a mess. I was watching something, um, I can't remember who it was, did a presentation. I think it was Danny Iny,
Hmm.
of Mercy. And he had this quote of marketers ruin everything. taking something new and just making a mess of it. So people are out there saying, oh yeah, create your course in 15 minutes with AI. But it just means the market's getting flooded with a lot of generic courses that maybe sound good on the surface, but aren't going to deliver any kind of result because they don't have, I guess, the emotional intelligence of knowing what people really need and what's going to work and what really meets their goals. So, yeah, it's been a mess, and I can see the whole course market getting flooded with that. But it sounds good on the surface, a lot
Yeah,
of
it
the
sounds
stuff.
good, but I think one of the things that stands out, I think, with your courses is you know the quality. I mean, you're getting uh, so much more robust content in yours versus just somebody who pastes AI stuff in there, I would think.
Yeah, there's thinking behind it and judgment behind it. So, as an example, um, I'll use it to get some ideas for a course. So I'm looking at a course now on doing something on how to stand out in a crowded market,
Hmm.
because we plan our courses pretty far in advance. And we outlined some stuff based on our own knowledge and research, and then said, okay, let's see what ChatGPT has to say. Give me some ideas of what's missing, what could be a more logical flow. And it came up with all sorts of things that we hadn't included. And suddenly we found ourselves going down a path that wasn't the path we meant to go on in the first place. So we had to pull ourselves back and say, no, 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 no. This is not the way we wanted to go. Let's go back to what we talked about in the first place and just focus in on the essentials. So it's keeping that goal in mind and what really makes sense to include. And you have to know your customer, you have to know your
Yes.
student and what their real pains are, not just what ChatGPT thinks it's their pain points are and what they really need. So
So
there's
no, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, it's you can't replace the human side of actually talking to somebody and understanding where they're coming from.
Hmm. You've been doing this, what? I mean, when I introed you, it's at 30 years. So,
Yeah.
right? So, like, what do you see as kind of the difference now as it was as opposed to back then? Because 30 years ago was like the dawn of the internet, right? I mean, I remember that myself. I was in the cable industry at the time, and we were just like, wow, this is amazing. We can send a file with and it only takes 10 minutes, you know, or whatever. So
Oh God, the dial-up
yeah, yeah,
connection.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
I actually started out in investment banking, and I remember the big thing was just being able to get some resource data through online. There was no connection. Actually, the most valuable course I ever took in college was a programming course. There was no Word Perfect or Word or anything like that. But
Word,
when I graduated, I was a Word Perfect
yeah,
was the
wow.
thing.
And
And
Lotus 1, 2, 3.
yep, Lotus 1, 2, 3. We used to use all that. We had the dial-up go to, what was the, not go to anywhere. It was the, to be able to access your computer from home in the office. I don't know. I
Yes.
was one of the first people probably to work from home because my company that I worked for, it was this learning consulting company, um, actually let me do working from home and doing some of my work that way. And I had to tap into the computer network. So yeah, early days. But in your question about how things have changed, honestly, the whole process has not really changed that much because how people learn and how people in business want to be able to apply what they learn to their own business, their own situation, that hasn't changed. People still learn effectively the same way by actually putting into place, implementing it. It's just that you have some more tools to work with and you can do more things online so you don't have to be in person. it doesn't replace it. You're still going to get more out of being in person, but that's expensive and people don't have the time. Everything's much more rushed. And of course, you can look up any answer online right away, which
Sure.
I love,
Yeah.
love, love, love.
Yeah. Well, same with
I've always dived into any new tech that comes out, including the AI, but the AI is moving really fast, so I get a little frustrated at times. It's exhausting, you
but you're
know?
right. Marketing, copywriting, course creation, even. I mean, uh, there are methodologies that will stand the test of time.
Yeah,
So
and that's the same approach, the same design approach I use now as I used 30 years ago in corporate, where you're looking at strategy. You're looking at what a company needs to do. First, what the goal is, what the existing state is, where the problems are, and where some sort of learning needs to take place to make change happen.
mhm.
That's no different. You're still doing the same analysis and breaking it down into what people need to do, the different steps. So they're just new tools. We're not doing post-its on the wall,
Right.
but a lot of people still prefer doing that. I don't.
True. Yeah. Should see my refrigerator. Uh, so
I used to love it. We had the post-its everywhere. This module goes here, this lesson goes there. Let's move it around to what makes most sense. And then I started doing it on an iPad in a
yeah,
mind map. That
you
worked for
long
me.
for those days ever?
No, because I don't like having paper all over the place. I
Yeah.
have very little paper that I use. I'm happy to put it all on the screen.
Are there
That
certain
works.
AI tools you're using right now? Do you have any favorites that are uh, your go-tos?
My favorite, well, I still use ChatGPT most of the
Hmm.
time, and I think they're all pretty similar. I'm considering signing up for the paid Claude since that's supposed to be better than ChatGPT right now, but it's the same process. I like it because it's free form and I like to do it as a conversation. So I have conversations. Sometimes they're very frustrating with ChatGPT, where
Yeah,
I
me
say,
too.
no, that's not what I meant. And it says, oh, you're right, Sharyn. It should really be this. Yes, that was a good point, Sharyn. Like, well, why am I making the point, not you? So I do get
Uh,
frustrated with it. But ChatGPT I like because it is relatively free form and I don't want to be put into a box,
right.
into a template that I have to follow. I also don't want to have the token limits that a lot of the paid tools are. So I have a team version. So I signed up for that team space and I just have our core team members I pay for in there. So you can have a team space where none of your data is shared with the model. So we
Oh,
can
okay.
upload a document and not worry about it being used to train the model. So
Nice.
yeah, that was when I saw that. I didn't see an announcement or anything. I was just in ChatGPT and I saw, hey, you can sign up for ChatGPT Teams. Oh, wow, great. Instead of $20 a month, it was $24 a month per person.
Not
Made
bad.
sense.
Yeah, that's good.
And then the only other, I use Grammarly, which I don't really consider AI, but it is considered AI. And that's moderately useful. I not find it most useful for just highlighting, major mistakes or maybe rewording a phrase here and there to be
Hmm.
clear. But then I already write very well and very clearly, so it's not an issue. And the only real one I use otherwise is Descript, which I love for editing videos. Oh
Me
my God,
too.
that really is a game changer. And I don't use that word very often because ChatGPT does.
Yeah, yeah.
It's revolutionary. Um,
It is
but
though.
it's unbelievable. Just being able to edit it like a Word document and taking things out, I can edit so quickly. So for quick videos, I use that a lot. Otherwise, all the other ones I've been trying to just keep those blinders on. And I see some periodically I hear about that I'll take a quick look at and try out. I guess in Canva, I do use something there. if you'd call it AI, their magic convert, some of their tools in there.
Yeah.
Not the images. I'm terrible with images. I haven't spent the time to really learn that. I'm not a visual person, so I have trouble with it. But they have something where you can convert a document to a presentation. So we'll outline a whole slide presentation. It only works with shorter ones, but you can paste that into a Canva doc and then have it convert it to a presentation. They're not the most amazing looking, but you can have your brand colors, and it's getting better at giving you design ideas. So I definitely use that sometimes for shorter presentations. But if
Okay.
you ask it to do use AI to create a presentation on a certain topic, I don't do that because I don't like what it comes up with. It might come up with a structure, but then I'm doing most of the work.
I think we're still in the early days of these bigger organizations adding AI to their repertoire. I mean, I obviously they've added it, but I think they're still perfecting it. That's just my take.
Yeah, they're working on it. I think it's worth spending your time looking at the tools that you're already comfortable with and you use a lot. So, for instance, all the Microsoft documents and Copilot, that's probably worth looking at if you use it a lot. I do use Google Workspace, so those might be worth it. But there's that fine line between spending your time on that and actually spending your time on your business
Right.
and getting things done. And I think people have been so distracted that they're not spending their time on their business and then saying, well, business is not great, it's stalling. Well, if you're spending all your time trying to learn 10, 20, 30 different AI tools, then it's not time well spent.
It's a great point. Boy, you nailed it there because I feel like now I'm spending way too much time on AI. Although that is, I kind of have to do that for the club, but I could see where entrepreneurs will get distracted very easily in that realm and then lose focus. Like, what was I working on? Or get like a dozen new ideas instead of just focusing on one idea and taking that home, like making the most of that particular one. Instead,
Yeah.
now it's like, wow, all these ideas AI is giving me, so
It's
I
like
don't know.
taking the shiny object syndrome and sending it into the stratosphere with, exponential number of new shiny objects to
Yep.
look at
Yeah.
every single day.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So I've subscribed to a few different newsletters, and a lot of them are not opened in my inbox because there are other things to do first. But I'll take a quick glance at it and say, no, 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 I'm not interested in that. Oh, this looks interesting. But I won't try new tools unless it's something that really does look like it's going to make a massive difference. You have to be so strict with
Yes.
yourself. Say, no, that's not worth my exploring. Okay, great. If you have a new chatbot would be fantastic to do, but how big an impact is that really going to make on my business? You have to ask yourself that before you start diving into it. And I think for small businesses, a lot of this stuff is not going to make a big impact yet. It's not worth spending your time on. Big corporations, maybe, they have more processes that can be refined.
I
So
just
it's
came up
amazing
with
to me that they'll just fire a whole bunch of people without realizing that we still need guidance.
yeah. What do you do? Hire them back? When you're Sharon, I think I just came up with a new course for you. Like
Oh,
how to
yeah.
stay focused on one project at a time in the age of AI. There you go.
Yep.
So
Okay. Yeah. We have various things on focus, but we can do a different slant on something, how to stay focused when the world around you is exploding.
distracted and stay ahead of the curve. So
No, honestly, the self-help courses have not, from what I've heard, have not been doing as well
really,
as they used to. Yeah, I think it's also still AI is distracting people. Everyone wants an AI course, but the issue with AI courses, and you know this from running a membership is that it does change constantly. So if you create a course today, it's going to be out of date tomorrow.
It's true. Yeah.
And then what? You have to redo it and keep redoing it. That's a
That
lot of
is a good
time
point.
spent.
Yeah. Same with books. You know, you write a book about AI, and by the time you're done with it, it's antiquated. So I don't
Yeah,
know. So
it's
Sharyn,
not worth it.
if someone came up to you and said, "What do where can I learn more about you?" I know you have a 5-day challenge, right? How does that
Mhm.
work?
So we have a 5-day challenge, which I'm just about to update and make even shorter, still 5 days, but more concise. That has a free mini course in it on time management,
Nice.
which is very useful. And that's something that people can use as their own. So it comes with the private label rights, or white label, whatever you want to call it, brandable. And then I created a step-by-step how to actually rebrand that, customize it, and set it up online to sell. So it's really a 5 days walking you through how to use an existing white label course and set it up as your own in
Nice.
5 short steps, just a little time. The new videos, each one is no more than 7 minutes or so. So you can just do it really quickly because you don't have time to spend, certainly not time to create something from scratch. That, even with AI, takes a lot of time and effort to put
Yeah.
together something good. So I have that. Um, yeah, and I just have, a whole slew of different topics of ready to go courses and content on our site, from complete courses with their sales funnels and lead magnet funnels for list building to some that are just blog posts that you could plug into ChatGPT and get ideas for things to add to it, or examples to add to it, or places to expand. So that's where it's also really useful. Taking one small thing and say, expand it, or one thing and say, where can I add? So,
ContentSparks.com, and it's very, there's a lot going on there. I mean, you can have
yeah.
a blast on your site. So I highly recommend folks going there, and there'll be all kinds of links on our podcast page for all this. And Sharyn, it's so great catching up, and I really
Yeah.
appreciate you doing this with us. And just keep on doing what you're doing. I think you're doing great work, changing lives and really helping businesses out there.
Thanks. So are you. Keep at it.
Uh, well, it's fun, so we'll keep going.